A very good evening once again. You're watching News 9 Facebook Live with me, Adarsh Vepachedu. Let's just say you were an app developer or an entrepreneur. You give your heart and soul to developing an application, and after a lot of struggle and hard work, you managed to launch your app on Google Play Store. And now you're expecting good profits. But what if Google were to suddenly tell you that 30% of your earnings through the app will go to Google? You'll be outraged, right? Well, there is no hypothesis. This is exactly what is going on right now. Indian app developers are up in arms over Google's announcement that it will strictly enforce its policy of taking a 30% cut for all digital purchases starting 30th September 2021. Now, let's get this straight. Google is a tech giant, and we're talking about small companies or app developers launching their apps online. So how fair is it on Google's part to be doing this? Shouldn't Google be creating money too, in the sense that they need to be earning money as well, right? But what about the app developers who may not be making enough revenue in the first place? Well, to discuss some of these very matters, we have with us Mr. Ajay Datta, whose company Data Engineers Global Limited was behind the video conferencing app Video Meet. Many thanks, sir, for speaking to us. There are roughly about 131,600 odd applications from Indian publishers already listed on Google Play. Wouldn't an additional 30% payment to Google not just trouble the developers a lot, but also the end customers who may now have to shell out more? And do you think the government can play an important role here?
Yes, of course, everybody can play an important role, and government has a policy importance here, and there needs to be a proper case. Government just cannot take decision on any private company for the margin and the rates, but this has to be seen in a more brighter light of antitrust, anti-bundling, anti-monopoly, there are many anti-India, there are many anti-laws of the country. That has to be seen as a different action.
Correct.
Whereas government just cannot see if you want to charge something for advertisement, it's just that you can charge whatever. But when it comes to the monopolistic platforms, it has to be seen in a very different way, not just a money-making opportunity for some company.
Oh, yes. Mr. Ajay, you're an app developer yourself. Developing an application from scratch is in itself such a costly affair. After your product is ready, you would be hoping that the money you make will help you, say, repay loans that you may have taken. But now it's all going Google's way. What do you have to say about that, and what about the plight of all of these app developers?
It is not just app developer, others. As you remember, every business which you do requires an investment, hard work, perseverance, passion, and a lot of commitment, and there is an opportunity to address, but there is at the same time, there is a fear of failure, and there is a lot of loss which can come because of uncertain situations. So forget about this app itself. You start a small business of shoe, and you are shoe selling, which is a general, you sell shoes every day, and you make 20% out of this, and you just go home. Suddenly, your electric company, which is a monopoly company, asks you give 30% on your sales. Otherwise, I will not give you electricity. What you will do? Monopoly. If you drive to the road to your shop, government will say, give us 30% of your profit, which is more than the income tax itself. How do you survive? The key here is that a person who is in a monopoly and has provided a platform cannot and should not charge a extortion money where there is no other platform available to serve that service. Till the service is available right now, if the payment gateways are available at 1 or 2% right now, how come Google is charging 30%? Because they believe that on Google Play, without Google Play, companies cannot survive right now, and with Google Play, they have to pay 30%, so they have no other way to go.
It's such a bad deal indeed.
Yeah.
And in fact, I was looking at the choice of your words. You used the word extortion. Isn't that how everybody is feeling at this point in time?
Yeah, of course, as I said, like electricity, like roads, like if you are in a monopoly situation,
Yeah.
there has to be a regulator.
Yeah.
There has to be a rationale around what you charge, right? Because for a monopolistic situation, there are many things which are in a monopolistic situation. Like, if, for example, when we have only one telecom company or we have one airline, how do you control if you don't have a regulator? They can charge anything, right?
Yes, yes.
So there has, in a monopoly situation, either there is a fair competition. So if Google allows many app stores, many app platforms where somebody can host the app and then serve, then you can charge whatever, because then people are not forced to go to Google Play Store, right?
Correct.
People go anywhere.
Correct.
So that's what it should be otherwise.
Right.
Like, for example, let me bring another point.
Please.
If you have tried, so it is not necessary and mandatory to install, to go to Google Play right now, today also.
Correct,
By the way.
correct.
You can have your app on your own website.
Correct.
It's possible. But if you install the app from your website, Google will show a warning, it is unsafe. And if you install the same app from Play Store, it is safe.
Okay.
So you are demarketing the another platform which is serving the app.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And you are getting a scare. It's a false scare.
Oh, yes.
So if you, as a channel, News9 create your app and serve it through Facebook right now, it will be considered unsafe, which you have invested in, you haven't set up there, but it's in your own phone, by the way. On computer, on phone you install, you are going to be dealing this as unsafe alert. Whereas if you install the same app through Google Play, it will be considered as safe. So it's a false scare being created. Otherwise, there will be many platforms right now,
Oh, yes.
thousands of platforms.
Oh, yes.
So
In fact,
to bring the people on the Google Play.
Coming to that very point, Mr. Ajay. Again, if we were to really piece all of this together, looking back at the 30% rule, if we were to call it, that Google is now looking at, they say that it is not new and that it is being enforced right now to plug revenue gaps and to make Google Play Store a better place. So let me get this straight. In the end, there is a hole in our pocket and Google Play Store is a better place. How is that really justified? And why should we further consolidate Google's monopoly? You've been using the word monopoly at least 6 to 7 times. Isn't it really time that we just go Atmanirbhar on this and come up with an Indian alternative to the Google Play ecosystem? Isn't that really the way to go about it?
Others, let me shock you a little more.
Please.
It is not even 30%. It is more than 30%. And let me explain you how. When you put a charge of 100 rupees, let us say, for an app, a news app of News9, 100 rupees a year, you have GST included into that already.
Okay.
Right? So you are also paying 30% on 18% also.
Okay.
Okay? So you will end up paying 35%, not just 30%. So you are paying even the 30% on your tax also. That's another thing. So you have to look at it in a more different way. Secondly, Atmanirbhar is right now to me is just a talk. We are not really walking the talk. We have to really walk the talk, and this is probably one example where we can walk the talk.
Do we have the kind of resources though, Mr. Ajay?
See, it's a matter of will, I always believe, not the resources. So till the moment we have a will, we can always deliver, we can always search, we can always deliver much more powerful solutions than what we could ever imagine. We have our own resources. You can imagine, don't we have our own airline? Don't we have our own UPI as an NPCI?
Correct.
Don't we have our own defense? Don't we have our own security, our own buildings? These are all infrastructure, our own roads. Nobody has come from outside and built them and own them.
True.
Right now, it's a matter of opportunity because we have been spending money last 100 years on that. Let us say at least after the freedom we got in 1947, we have been investing in them. Now is the time to invest in those resources, to build our own operating system, build our own platforms, build our own app
because
delivery,
this monopoly has to break. It cannot continue like this.
Absolutely. Build our own. So right now we have been very happy to show the world that we are having a great mind here. We can serve you better. It's now the time to build your own intellectual property, build our own products, and then let the world depend on them. That's what we need to really be.
So,
we have to sing our song and let the world dance on it.
So, Mr. Ajay, bottom line, would you say that Google's new move should really come as a stepping stone for all the Indian app developers. They should really look at putting their heads together and doing something big for the country now.
Others, there is always a trigger point, right? So you keep bearing, you keep going, you keep talking, all those things keep happening, but there is always a trigger point, and we shall never miss those trigger points and opportunities to take them further. I believe that the first time I am seeing Vijay Shekhar, who is of Paytm, is leading this, has led by launching the payment, the app store itself.
Yes.
By in another 7 days, put 10 crore rupees behind it. It's
Yes.
not a small step, right? And being vocal about that we will not face this monopoly, we will not deal with this monopoly, we will not bear this monopoly, may it be Google or anybody else in the world. So this is where we need to see. We are not against Google, by the way. Nobody is against any company.
Yes.
It is about the policy.
Correct.
It is about bringing the right policy in play so that it becomes a better ecosystem and companies do not get quest, get killed. Companies can rather further grow and survive.
Right. Because it clearly looks as though Google Play Store does not really have any kind of a soft corner for, say, Indian app developers who may be really trying to do so much to make their ends meet. Many thanks, Mr. Ajay, for joining us and for sharing with us your insights on what Google is really up to, what kind of a stand it has taken, and as to how it would really impact the app developers right here in the country. One only hopes that this move taken by the Google, works in our favor, wakes us up in the right way, and that all the app developers really come together, launch a Play Store kind of an ecosystem right here in the country, which is free, fair, and obviously Atmanirbhar at the end of the day. If you've liked the information that we've shared with you this evening, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to News 9 on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Many thanks for joining us.